Race number 8 on the Winstel Cup Series brings us to Lowe's Motor Speedway as we get ready for one of the crown jewels of the Winstel Cup Series, their version of the Coca-Cola 600. Drivers will be tested in a challenge of endurance and a challenge of ability, and most importantly, a challenge of fuel and car management as they try to take away the win at one of the most cherished tracks in all of auto racing. Good evening, everybody. You are watching live coverage of the Winstel Cup Series here on ABN TV. My name is Joe Cortez. Always with me, the boss lady, Carmen, Sienna. And Carmen, we're going to have some fun ttonight. Charlotte Motor Speedway, people like to say it's a cookie cutter, but hey, this is arguably one of the most storied cookie cutters out there.
Yeah, this is arguably the most iconic of the intermediate 1.5 mile tracks. It's the quad oval variant. We've got the double dog leg at the front, where it's almost like two kings. It's another track where you're just turning almost all the way through it. You're having to line up your car to get through this race, and this is the longest race of the season. We talked about how physical last week was at Richmond. This is going to be even more physical, sort of a prelude before the storm that's going to be tonight. And the drivers are going to have their hands full in this race. It's 100 laps. Tires look like the fall is going to be pretty dramatic. It looks like I've seen between 2.5 to about 4 seconds worth of drop off, depending on where you're at in the field and if you're dealing with traffic. That's a huge difference in 35 laps. It's supposed to be a 2 pit stop race. Cautions, we know they can either come in bunches or they can come at just the right time and save some drivers, as we saw again last week at Richmond. But that's the strategy everyone's trying to play with. It looks like a pretty easy 2-stop strategy, but it's about making it to that fuel window without needing to come down pit lane to get those fresh tires early.
All about tires, all about fuel management. And again, as we talked about, it's about managing the car, making it work, and being able to maintain that speed all throughout the race from start to finish. This isn't This isn't just a quick run around track. It's 100 laps around the cookie cutter that set the rest of the field. Let's go ahead and take you through the point standings as they are today. Gabriel Mauricio taking back the lead after last week at Richmond Raceway. Jose Solis Jr. in second. Emily Howe, in a dramatic move, has worked her way up the field to third. Dylan Roberts now in fourth. Sean Peleg, who was leader 2 weeks ago, he's dropped down 4 positions to fifth. Thomas Lewandowski still in the top 10 at sixth. Christian Budd moves up to seventh. Aaron Smith, who was high in the top 10, has dropped 6 points down to 8th. Chris Champeau now in the top 10, and Mike Rasmus, the last man on the outside, the last man looking in, he is currently sitting into position number 10. Brendan McGee, no movement for him, and time is running out. He's got to start making some moves if he wants to get into the top 10. The first one looking out only 29 points outside of the chase right now. Parker Alexander in 12th, Nick Doucette in 3rd, Tyler Head in 14th. The part-timer only has 4 starts, 2 wins in those starts, so not a bad run for someone who's running part-time. Alex Bakes, Jonathan Hernandez, Corey Cook, Chrissy Ryan, and Zach Campbell, your top 20 in the field. Anthony Kroback, TJ Crampton, Brandon Cruz, a lot of other drivers back there. Larry Pace, Davin Cornelius, Evan Lack, Michael O'Brien, Evan Mellinson. The last driver who is in the top 35 able to make the cut. Morpheus Perry, Mo Perry still out there. Kyle Benson, Hayden Repas, Corey Collins, Craig Luttenslaughter, all on the track, but maybe mathematically eliminated from getting into the cup chase with so few races left on the season.
Yeah, after tonight, that's going to be 8 races left in the regular season, so we'll keep an eye on this line because it's still important as far as setting up for next season as well. But yeah, the chase cutoff line, you talk about where Brendan McGee is right now, just so close to where Mike Rasmus is. And this is a race that's going to have a lot of attendance to it. Qualifying currently underway here in Charlotte. But yeah, it's very interesting how everything went upside down at Richmond. And we could see the same thing happen here at Charlotte as well. It's going to be very interesting just to kind of follow along with where everyone's at. Speaking of the driver sitting in 10th place here at the moment, Mike Rasmus undergoing his qualifying lap now.
Trying to win the Hard Charger Award in more than one way in that blue and white Viagra branded Ford Fusion. Into turns 3 and 4, he will go very reminiscent, or actually very exactly reminiscent of that old Mark Martin scheme that we used to see back in 2004. To the bottom of the field, he will take his 1 lap qualifying, and that will put him and currently in 8th, exactly where he wants to be. Not a bad spot to qualify from, especially when you know that you're in a points battle to stay in the chase.
Absolutely, another driver that's going to be doing everything he can really to take over the race late. Oh, Jose Solis Jr. in the wall. He's not started his lap time, so he can reset here, but he is running out of time to make that happen, and he's immediately going to go for it again. We see how much he favors that outside lane. This is a track where it will bite you more often than not. Yeah, but he's got to try to make that work here this evening. Rolling right now back on track. It's him. Tyler Head also on the track here at the moment, so we'll get to follow both the 4 and the 29 in this qualifying head-to-head. Jose Solis Jr. getting his 8th career Winstel Cup Series win a week ago, finally breaking the goose egg. It seemed like he was so close, it's so far away from getting that race win. Now it's kind of on Zach Campbell to carry that mantle. The next driver probably in line to try to get a win here in the Winstel Cup Series. Nick Doucette topped the board in qualifying so far. Front row currently lined up with the 24 and the 8. A legendary rivalry there with Doucette and Roberts behind the wheel of those cars. See if Jose Solis Jr. can break it up.
And you mentioned it, Jose Solis Jr. getting the big win last week at Richmond Raceway. Zach Campbell in 2nd. Jose Solis only led 13 laps, but he got the fastest lap, and he was in front on the winning lap. Currently 9th, so a good start for Jose Solis Jr. in the 29 GM Goodwrench Chevrolet. Let's see who else we can follow along with. Let's take a look at the driver of, I believe that is the 34 machine of Corey Steinhauser.
Yeah, right now we're looking at Cortez. He's not rolled on track yet. He seems like he's intent on going out. 2 drivers attempted to set a lap, and obviously their lap time was invalidated. Drew Wright in the 88 and the 21 of Thomas Lewandowski, they crashed on their qualifying laps. We will follow Brandon McKissick, who is going to go ahead and start rolling first. 30 cars set lap times so far. McKissick trying to join and become the 31st. 39 cars set to take part here in the 600. So all the drivers.
1/6 as it were. Yeah. Actually, no, I take it back. It's a quarter of the 600. Yeah. It's 100 laps, so that's
150
normally
miles.
600 be 400 laps. So we're going to run a quarter. It's a quarter 400, or it's a quarter 600. So it'd be 150.
Yeah.
But nonetheless, the idea is the same. It's the longest race these guys will run all season long. The guys and girls of this series will run this race incredibly hard, and it will take a toll on them. Whereas last week's race was very physical, where you had cars working against each other, working off each other. You have drivers who are going to be here for the endurance race and going to have to figure out how to keep their minds in the game for 100 laps around Lowe's Motor Speedway, as it was known back in 2004. McKissick crosses the line for his 1 qualifying lap, and that will knock him into 9th. That'll knock off, I believe, that was Solis, who was in 9th.
Yeah, so Jr. now on the outside of row 5 as things currently sit. McKissick jumping right into the top 10 there. It's still Nick Doucette, Dylan Roberts at the front of the field. Tyler Head, the defending series champion, right now sitting in row 2 alongside Aaron Smith. Christian Budd and Brendan McGee currently sitting row 3. Very interesting here. A couple drivers we didn't get to see last week. Didn't see Olivia Hayward last week. Hayward back in the session. Same with Hayden Repas, the 89 car. Both of them had pedal issues that were plaguing their races. Neither of them stepped forward last week at Richmond. I don't think we saw Olivia Hayward the race before either. We also didn't see Rory Collins, another driver who had an issue with equipment last week, but the 23 also present here tonight. The most surprising one would be the 21 of Lewandowski, who will start this race. I believe, if looking at the numbers correct, he will start this race in 39th and dead last in the field.
Not necessarily in dead last, as we have 3 cars that'll be forced to start from pit lane. That includes the 24 of Nick Doucette, the 16 of Kyle Benson, and the 42 machine of Evan Lack. Lack will actually start 1 lap down, so that should move Lewandowski up by 3 positions to about 35th, 36. As we know, 3 cars will have to serve their penalty to start this race here at Lowe's Motor Speedway. So very interesting start for 2 drivers who have definitely been in the midst of the conversation to lead this race going into the chase. It'll be very interesting to see how they adjust their strategies in order to start working their way up the front, as well as those who didn't get a great qualifying lap, but will have a great run later on in the race. Look at you, Thomas Lewandowski.
Yeah, Nick just at the pole sitter, one of the drivers that'll start from pit lane after earning a penalty, I believe, from Richmond a week ago. He was obviously all over the place at Richmond last week, so he will start from pit lane. Going to be very interesting to see how he makes his way forward. But we will look now at the starting grid, because 39 cars is a lot to go over here. Joe, take it away.
Nick Doucette was the man who would start in position number 1. He'll have to start from pit lane, so the de facto pole will go to the 8 of Dylan Roberts. Tyler Head, the part-timer who's already won 2 of the 4 races he's run in, trying to make it 3 of 5 tonight in row number 2. Aaron Smith, the second on the outside. Christian Budd and Brandon McGee, the one on the outside looking in, will start in row number 3. Emily Howe and Sean Paleg in row number 4. And row number 5 belongs to the 37 of Brandon McKissick and the 29 of Jose Solis Jr. That's your top 10.
Looking further down the order here, you got Michael O'Brien sitting in row 6 alongside Mike Rasmus. For Mike Rasmus, very important race to stay in the top 10. He's got to finish ahead of Brandon McGee here tonight to kind of keep himself there and afloat. Behind him, Gabriel Mauricio, the points leader, once again qualifying outside the top 10. But as he's already proven twice this season, it's not quite about where he starts, about where he finishes this race, and he's got plenty of time to move forward. He'll be alongside Jonathan Hernandez at the start. Ali Osman in row 8 alongside Parker Alexander, then TJ Crampton and Evan Locke starting in row 9. Evan Locke will have to start from the pit lane and will start 1 lap down, serving a penalty that went unserved last week at Richmond. Behind them, row 10, Timothy Latham and Jared Bales make up the top 20 here in Charlotte.
Row 11 belongs to 0 of Corey Cook and the 19 of Philip Snipes. Row 12 will be Matt Taylor and Brandon Cruz on the inside and outside. Andrew Greaves-Robb on the inside, Nancy Kroback on the outside. In row number 13, Greg Lottenslaughter and our very own Chrissy Ryan starts in row 14. And row 15 belongs to 12 of Mo Perry and the 91 of Matt Sisseler, going through the rest of the field as these cars roll onto the racetrack for their first 2, I believe, parade laps. Will be the 33 of Tyler Murray, the 21 of Lewandowski in 16th, Drew White and Olivia Hayward in row 17, Corey Steinhauser, Hayden Repas in row 18, Kenny Skew and Leandro Moriera in row 19, starting 39th, Rory Collins, which of course will be moved up through the field as we have those 3 will be forced to start on pit road. 39 cars all ready to go, 100 laps around the Lowe's Motor Speedway here in beautiful Charlotte, North Carolina, my home track, as it were. And we're getting ready to go do some green flag racing. This ought to be a fun race, especially when you consider it is the longest race they run, Carmen.
Yeah, and obviously, you talk about this race obviously being a quarter of the real-life race distance. This series prides itself on being a series that you just push and push and push. You want to see these drivers just kind of go all out for a little bit. A lot of racing, you have to stay the tires a little bit. You have to, you really sort of have to water down sort of what you would do in a race. With this, they try to make it straightforward. They try to make it interesting. There's still going to be some tire saving because of how long this race is, but you're going to see a lot of drivers hanging out there a little bit, try to grab that position, because track position is important here at Charlotte Motor Speedway. It's a lot different now than what it was back, obviously, in 2004. Some fresh pavement, some changes to the track. Obviously, that you've got the AstroTurf on the front infield there. So there has been, obviously, some changes to this track over the years. But it hasn't changed how this track is raced. The track stayed pretty true to itself over the past couple decades. And you're going to see that here. Dylan Roberts and Tyler Head are going to lead the field to green. It's going to be very interesting because you can run out of room so quickly here. The way the track falls off at a 2 and at a 4, drivers will have to make sure they keep all 750 horsepower under them in these Gen 4 machines. And we've seen the best and worst of what that looks like. I have a feeling we're going to see something a little bit down the middle. Everyone knows the stakes to this race, and we talk about the points, we talk about the situation. It is go time now for all the drivers involved.
They're on the backstretch, getting ready. Half a lap to go before we start the longest race in the series. Real quick, Carmen, who are you watching tonight?
Tyler Head looks really good. Christian Butt, I think, looks fantastic right now. Keep an eye on Emily Howe. She always typically does really well here at Charlotte. This is her home track as well. And Christina Ryan, she's starting well back in the field. Don't expect her to stay there. Expect her to be near the top 15, if not in the top 10, by the time this race is over. This fits her like a glove. But also keep an eye on some drivers. Jose Solis Jr. starting in the top 10. He's going to try to go for back-to-back wins. No one's done it yet.
Through the Geico restart zones they go. Tyler Head and the 8 of Dylan Roberts. Green flag flies, and we are racing here in Charlotte, North Carolina. 100 laps begins now on ABN. And early, it's Tyler Head getting the jump, getting a little bit of a run on the 8 machine. But don't look now. Here comes a 17. That belongs to Christian Budd. He's going to give the push to the 4, and we are done under caution immediately. Looks like the 30, the 20, and I believe that is the 5. May have gotten a big piece of that.
Yeah, huge trouble already here on the opening lap, in the opening corners. But we'll try to figure out what happens. Obviously, we see some of the drivers involved in this.
Looks like 3 cars may have been involved in this. As we go back, take a look at that incident. We'll have a replay up for you in just a moment. Here we go, actually. Let's take a start looking around that number 5 machine, the Kellogg Chevrolet, and see what exactly took place from the chopper view here. Looks like the 5 may have been wrong place, wrong time, as he goes 3 wide between the 1 and the 30. 30, yep, this comes up, makes contact with the 5. Nowhere for the 5 to go. The driver of Parker Alexander will get sideways through turns 1 and 2 in front of the midfield, and that will bring along the 50 and the 84 as well. No serious damage for either of these cars. All of them look like they're pretty okay. No, just a little bit of frustration as a 5 gives a love tap to the 30 there. A little thank you very much for that incident, and they'll be back to racing here in just a few laps. So good news is nobody's race night is over. The bad news is it's got to be frustrating to not even go a lap before you stack them up one more time.
Yeah, it's going to be very frustrating. Let's see if we can get another onboard camera here. It's going to be very frustrating for the drivers all involved here. Christina Ryan, we're right on board with, because she had a good view of all of it as it took place here. Just all the checkups you had to see there. TJ Crampton going up into Anthony Krobach. Everyone pretty well aware of where they needed to be to get through that. But obviously not ideal with where we were just beginning to warm up. Unfortunately, kind of a start and stop situation here, and that means that this restart, like everything else, is going to be single file. So everyone's going to have to now deal with traffic the hard way. There's not going to be very many opportunities now to make work happen. You've got to, especially if you're further back in the field, like where you look like Ali Osmond sitting right now 34th, it looks like. For him, it's not even worse because now he's got to go through double what he was working on at the start.
Several drivers will come down pit road, including that 33 of Tyler Murray and the 30 of Ali Osmond. They will look like probably tires for those cars, and maybe a little bit of a straightening out the sheet metal as they get ready to go back to green flag racing. Probably about a lapse time here once, give or take. Tyler Head will lead the field in the single file restart when we go back. The 8 of Roberts, Dylan Roberts, will start position number 2. Christian Budd in 3rd. Emily Howe in 4th, looking for her first win of the season. In fact, I think Howe just accidentally took the chicane on the front stretch to get back to position number 4.
Definitely
Did you see
accidental.
that?
Yeah, she does that a lot. She does it at Daytona too for the 500. She just does that for fun. I think she was very well kind of communicating, like, hey, I want to do this just for fun, because it can get very boring. We still have another lap here of caution, gonna be a little bit longer, obviously, because we had a car starting a lap down with Evan Locke. So we're running through the entire caution procedure here at Charlotte. But yeah, Emily Howell and Aaron Smith rounding out the top 5 here. Emily Howell, let's see, she's not gonna be the only one that does this, and I'm willing to guarantee that. Brandon McKissick already up 3 spots into 6 ahead of Brendan McGee, Jose Solis Jr., Sean Peleg, and Mike Rasmus. It's just been very interesting to see how all this plays out because, again, no one had a chance to really move anything. But some drivers are already making moves and making positions up here going into this event.
And if you're looking for a storyline to follow tonight, follow along with Brendan McGee and Mike Rasmus, the 9 and the 6 machines, as both those drivers are fighting for that last position. By the time we're done with this race, we'll be halfway through the Winstel season here. So now it's go time. Like you said in the beginning of the race, Carmen, it's go time now. They have to start making the runs. They have to be clever and quick, as we have a car here stopped on the front stretch. I believe that's going to be the 16 of Kyle Benson. Is that a penalty? That might be a penalty lap.
So that is Leandro Morera, who I think, because of how the caution played out, but got pinned behind the pace car a lap down. And they're going to wave him by manually because he wasn't even supposed to be a lap down anyway. He was one of those drivers that started from pit lane, but got pinned as a result of that. So they're going to wave him by here, but he almost got in trouble big time just with how quickly that caution came out. Luckily, a little bit of flexibility there, but we've seen melee like that happen before, especially starting from pit lane. Definitely not easy. They'll start. Morera will start from the very back of the field, in the bottom 5 positions. Evan Locke still a lap down. And he will move to you see Evan Locke there, that 42 machine.
Oh, we got trouble in the back there.
That is the 50 of Crampton, who's been hit from behind. Was that by Osman? Osman slowing down like he is trying to give up time.
I am not sure exactly what happened there, but it's never a good look to get wrecked on the yellow flag lap, or the caution lap, especially now that the 15 has damage on what looks like the front right fender.
We're gonna double check here just to make sure. That's Steinhauser in the 34. Yeah, check up here, and it's Steinhauser. It's not Osman, it's Steinhauser that grabs him.
Why were they checking up, though? What was causing that big break?
I believe that the huge checkup that we saw there was the they were all coming. I think some of them took another pit stop. They came down pit lane, so they were catching up to the actual pace car line, and they checked up out of 2. And obviously, no communication there would be the main cause of that, where they just kind of checked up unsighted on where the field was. You hear the leaders. You hear the leaders in turn 3. There's 39 cars in this field. Not everyone's going to be in turn 3, so you can get spooked by that pretty quickly. Especially if you're someone like Crampton, who's already like several cars behind. Unless you see them slow down, you don't know.
So TJ Crampton not going to be happy, especially now that he's got damage on that car. That could definitely spell some trouble for him, coming from the back to the front. We'll have to keep an eye on the 50 as we get ready to go back to green flag racing. This time we'll go back with no more incidents on the back stretch. We're going to go back to green flag racing. We should be back at lap number 7 now. That's correct. We'll go back to green flag racing on lap number 7. The field led by the number 4 of Tyler Head. Tyler Head currently on the outside looking in 14th place. He could, if he wins tonight, he could be a very serious contender to make the chase, but he's got to win, and he's got to make a big statement for his cause tonight. Pace car goes into that's not the Geico restart zone, but it's a restart zone nonetheless. We go into, yes, it is a Geico restart zone. Green flag flies, and Head will get a big jump on the number 8. Here comes the 17, though, and the 15 of Howe, all trying to get around. More trouble.
Trouble, Leandro Morera, and there's trouble even further forward, and that's Andrew Griesbaum.
As the pace car magically gets through the 49 of Andrew Griesbaum, we'll have to take a look at what happened. This is not the start that anybody wants to see out here.
Yeah, this is Griesbaum. Did he get hit by, that would be the 99 Rottenslager. Did this happen with... Oh, yeah, it was Lautenschlager that just ran him over.
Oh. That might end up in a penalty.
Very well could.
I don't know. I mean,
in the top 20.
that hit looked like it had some malice to it. I don't know the 49. Let's take it from the helicopter or a blimp cam if we can. That doesn't look like the 49 was getting sideways going into turn number 1. That would force the checkup.
Right, bro. The 99 guess is about as good of an idea as we can get.
Yeah, that's a tough call. I don't know what the 49 was doing. Maybe the 49 felt like he was getting into the turn sideways, where he felt like he had no traction, but the 99 just dumps him hard.
Yeah, we'll take another look here at Griesbaum. This is from our blimp cam in the center of the racetrack. This is full speed. I don't know if Griesbaum was really reacting to something in front of him. I don't see anyone spin until he does.
The only other explanation I can think of is Griesbaum got too close to that blue line, may have clipped the grass. Let's take a look on board with him and see if we can figure this out. He may have clipped the grass coming on the back end of the quad oval, and that causes tires to spin.
He missed a shift. Oh, that's exactly what happened. So going through and looking at that, we'll have to rewind it here. You hear him go through the gears, and he skipped third gear. So they start in second gear.
Right.
So it's second gear right here, and you hear the revs completely cut. He went from second to fourth. And that's what bogged him down. He money shifted from second to fourth. And Lautenschlager know where he can go on that because he's not expecting that shift, and that just bogs the 49 down and gets him checked up. That's very straightforward, a skip shift there for Griesbaum, unfortunately.
Well, the 99 is clear out of this incident. The 49 just had a bad mistake there, and that's going to bunch up the field one more time. Lautenschlager, I don't know if the 99 has any damage on him, is the good news. It might be clean as a result of that incident. It's hard to say.
Yeah, I don't see anything on Lautenschlager's car. I think he got very lucky on that. Thankfully, these bumpers don't line up, so it's very easy. Obviously, for accidents like that to happen, but it's very easy to get away with them too. But
yeah, that asymmetrical front is perfect for this sort of thing. Maybe some scratches on the front of that 99, but no serious damage. I think Lautenschlager will live to fight another lap, if you will, but that's definitely a tough break for the 49, who is will at least need to get new tires after that one and try to run again, try to make his way up the field one more time. For the rest of these drivers, the length of this race doesn't help. You can tell that there's a little bit of frustration building. There's a little bit of anticipation building, and these guys are not thrilled that the first 10 laps have been run under caution.
So it's not easy, right? But obviously these are simple mistakes, and it tells the nerves are there. These are mistakes we haven't seen, especially these mistakes. We haven't seen them this early all season long. It's something different here. But everyone just trying to be on their on their own A game, and sometimes you can overthink that dramatically too. One thing I want to bring up here, because we have had approximately a mile of green flag racing, but we have had a lot of shuffling going on in the race as well. Looking a little bit further through the order, one of the biggest gainers in this race so far, Christina Ryan, up 10 spots in this race. Alongside her is Matt Sisler, the number 91 machine, up 10 spots as well from 30th to 20th. Thomas Lewandowski gaining another spot thanks to a pit stop there by Matt Taylor. He'll be up now 11 spots, the biggest gainer of everybody so far, alongside Rory Collins, who started this race 39th, dead last, up to 28th so far. Biggest loser by proxy, Nick Doucette, who we don't have apparently any information on. That's that's strange. But he obviously started on pole position, got the point for pole. But
was forced to start in third road.
Yeah.
And now is sitting in 23rd. So the good news is he's at least on the lead lap. His team can take solace in that, and he can work his way up the field if we start having some green flag runs, which can hope at this point. One can hope that we will start seeing some green flag runs one more time here. The first racing Ford Mustang pace car going through turns 3 and 4, and once again Tyler Head in command of this field. He has led all 11 laps through de facto leading, if you will, and this he will lead he'll lead them to lap number 12 when we go to green flag racing in just a moment. Single file restart about to take place here. Pace car makes a hard left turn down pit road. Now into the Geico Toyota restart zone we go. The green flag will be in command of the 4 machine. Green flies, and here we go one more time. Let's see if we can give it clean to a lap as Head leads the snake line down through the end of the quad oval and into turns 1 and 2. 2 lines already forming. The 37 of McGee trying to make some runs here early as now the 4 gets through turns 1 and 2. We're going to have a green flag lap.
I wouldn't say that too off much stuff. Half a lap to go. McKissick on the inside lane. That 37 was trying to lead McGee forward there. The 9 car ended up being shuffled up the racetrack by Jose Solis Jr., but McKissick going for third around Christian Budd. And now crossing the line, we have a green flag lap. Everyone now getting it out of their system. But McKissick up from 9th place on the grid to 3rd, making up 3 spots on that restart there.
Great decision to go down low for McKissick as he'll now pick up position number 3. But don't look now. There's plenty of drivers behind him, all trying to make some moves. Again, we mentioned McGee now on the high side. I think he's a little more comfortable up there in this low downforce package. He's going to try to get around the Jose Solis Jr. the hard way in the 29. Let's ride along with him real quick as we watch the battle between him and the 15 of Emily Howe. Emily Howe stuck on the outside this time by. We were going to continue to follow along, and great pass to put Emily Howe one position down.
Yeah, Emily Howe now falling backwards here a little bit. Sean Peleg making his way forward. The 48 machine trying to slide up the racetrack there just a little bit. And also there's the 40, the silver bullet, Gabriel Mauricio trying to go for it. Emily Howe falling like a stone a little bit here on this restart. Now we've got some green flag laps going. Howe will slide in front of McGee. And Mike Rasmus, who still lines out the top 10 at the moment, which is where he wants to be.
That had to be a deliberate move by the other drivers, knowing how dangerous Emily Howe can be on this track. Now let's follow along with the 00 fighting with the CarQuest machine of Timothy Latham. Latham started far back in this field, now currently in position number 14, fighting against the 00 of Christina Ryan, trying to stay in the top 15. The Aaron's Dream machine currently holding back a dream for Latham as they continue to run single file. Christina Ryan now, you see, we ride on board with her in front of the 27 machine. Check that, yeah, the 97 machine. Check that, of Michael O'Brien in front. Single file so far. It looks like everybody's gotten the rabbit out of their blood as Ryan now tries to make the pass on the high side, tries to make it work the hard way, and Christina Ryan will do it. She's going to try to pick up 2 in this run.
Yeah, she's taking on Jonathan Hernandez. Everyone trying to save a little bit tire. She's looking at the track position game right now. Easier to defend the track position near the end of this tire run. Once we get to that point, she's just worried about getting into the top 10 here. Missed the race, missed last week at Richmond. Definitely did not do her any favors there as far as the point standings go. Now looking at the top 10, Rasmus in 10th, looking to stay in the top 10 by trying to go around Brennan McGee as they battle it out here just in front. This is for 9th place now. 3 cars in that fight. And here comes the 00.
The 00 could make all the difference here in who gets the pass. The 00 choosing to go high now with McGee. Rasmus tries to hold them off. Rasmus with the preferred line will do so, but the 9 and 00 still working hard. No, check that. The 00 is going to go underneath the 9. Abandon McGee high and dry, and that could make all the difference now. Oh, no, check that. The 6 is being a little cautious as well, knowing the 00 has a run. Now he'll block the 00 going into turns 1 and 2. The driving is getting a lot more aggressive as Christina Ryan does not want to be on the outside looking in. She's saying, boys, I know you got a thing going on right now, but forget that. I'm going to let you finish after I get my position.
Yeah, and she's trying to get as far forward as possible here. Everyone knows that the window is about 35 laps. So it's about trying to maximize the amount of time and space that you have in that process here. As we look further down the order here, there's Nick Doucette Polster now into the top 20, sitting 18th at the moment. One of the Chrome Hendrick cars running around on track at the moment. Doucette got around Brandon Cruz there. Cruz still dealing with Timothy Murray, or Tyler Murray, excuse me. Craig Lautenschlager down 21st. Evan Locke, he started this race a lap down, now sitting in the 23rd position, qualified 18th, but has been as low as 39th, obviously, early on in this race. Ellie Osmond just behind as well. And Olivia Hayward, who had damage from that last caution, back up and running at full song. Only have 4 spots, sitting in 34th position. A couple cars out of this race already, the 59 and the 11 out of this race already. Leading us right now, 36 on the lap.
I'm sorry, Carmen. The 59 belonging to Aaron Smith and the 11 belonging to Anthony Kroback. They will retire early as Tyler Head continues to lead, has led all 22 laps here at Lowe's Motor Speedway and has a great run now on the 8. Let's go back to double zero of Ryan as she's hitched up with the 6 of Mike Rasmus, and together they're making quite a run. Behind them, they're still 2 by 6, it looks like. McGee on the low side, the 97 on the high side. Michael O'Brien trying to not make it 3 wide as the 14 tries to force the issue. Jared Bales trying to make it go 3 wide there for a second. Will realize that discretion's a better part of valor. Instead, we'll just choose a run behind the 97, but the 9 not making any friends on that low side, and he is actually, I think, holding that line back quite a little bit.
Also keep an eye just behind. Whoa! Bales and McGee make contact, and Bales hard in the wall. Caution's out. Jared Bales.
Third caution of the night for Jared Bales. We saw him try to force the issue earlier, and a few minutes ago there, making it 3 wide. This time he'll make contact with a 9 of Brandon McGee. You saw that live out here, and that is definitely not the way you want to make an impact here at Lowe's Motor Speedway. Caution out for the 3rd time tonight.
So we'll take a look back at this and see exactly how this all began. You see it's already started here. Just looking at where this all takes place, McGee just grabs the left recorder panel there of Bales. Bales trying to make that outside lane work. We'll look at it in real time here. Yeah, McGee just drifts up and tags him just a little bit, and then tags him at the rear to send him all the way around. Very unfortunate there for Bales. Yeah, he had a good run going. He was fighting to try to get close to the top 10 there, started in 20th. Now I think he is pretty well out of contention here. See the damage on that car live, back in live pictures here.
Rough damage for the 14. I believe they do have 1 quick repair in the bank, but I don't think that's going to help him right here as everyone comes down to the attention of their crews. Lap window under normal conditions would be between lap 30 and 35. I think everybody's going to come down early now and see if they can kind of bisect that a little bit.
1 car staying out. Hayden Repas will stay out here. Pretty sure I think he's just kind of going for that bonus point for leading a lap here.
Hey, every point counts. Doesn't matter how you get it. Every point counts.
Yeah, absolutely. Especially for Hayden, someone who, at this point, just trying to get into the top 35 and stay there. Obviously, this will probably change. He's right now, obviously, without having to explain much here, he is the driver with the most spots gained, up 35 spots. That's likely going to go back down, but he's not looking to go back to where he started, obviously with trouble there with Bales. Askew had to make a tow as well, so Askew had some problems in this event as well. And then obviously Aaron Smith and Anthony Kroback out of this race. Very worst, he goes back down to 35th.
Hayden Repas does need to make some points right now, up in the field right now, currently sitting 38th in the standings today, so he definitely wants to move back up, get into the 35, so he is locked into the field when they go racing. So these points critical for Hayden Repas. 6 races so far, had a hard time about it, and so yeah, absolutely needs of these points. When we go back to green flag racing, when Repas is inevitably has dispatched from the lead, we'll have a new leader. It'll be the 8 of Dylan Roberts, followed closely by the 37 of Brandon McKissick, and I believe that's Tyler Head in position number 4 right now, but we 3.
Yeah, I think Hayden's actually going to try to stay out here and see how he can hold up here. He last pit, if I'm double checking here, he last pit I don't know. He fell in lap 10. That's an interesting amount of time. I definitely would not be staying up that quite that long, but I think at this point you're kind of hoping for another quick caution to sort of set things straight here, but you never know.
Well, eventually, I mean, the other idea here is Rebus could be staying on the original pit strategy. He could be looking at trying to take 2 stops, one between lap 30 and 35, one between lap 62 and 67, to try to, so he may have the freshest tires when it comes down. We talked about this earlier, Carmen. These tires have an incredible drop off in the middle of the race. Once they're on a good cycle, they can drop off by, you said, up to a half a second, if I remember correctly. And so this could be Rebus playing the strategy game here. He's like, all right, if I keep to the original strategy, I may have fresher tires than everybody else when the green flag goes. No, he's gonna now come down pit road. He's had enough fun joyriding up front. He's gonna make the strategy call to go ahead and come down pit road now, and that will yield the lead to the 8 of Dylan Roberts. That'll be the 3rd lead change of the night.
Yeah, I'm interested to see how the 4 Tyler Head does now, sitting in 3rd behind McKissick and Roberts. I think I could argue that McKissick's probably faster than Tyler Head at the moment. McKissick's had to slice through the field to get to where he's at right now. Dylan Roberts now has clean air. He gets control of this restart. Restarts to go on green, so as soon as the green flag flies, it's on him to go. It's going to be very interesting now that the environment at the front has changed. Who's got the stronger cars now? McKissick's going to have I think a prime opportunity to make some magic happen here. But Dylan Roberts, no stops either. We've seen that 8 car up front a lot this season already.
Brandon McKissick, a great driver, just had a good run of bad luck. 1 win on the season. That was also his only top 5 as well. So McKissick absolutely needs this win, or a win today, or at least a strong finish to bounce back and get his name back up there to maybe challenge for the chase. We'll see what he can do. DJ Crampton will start on the inside. The first car 1 lap down. I believe he may be more than 1 lap down after that incident, but he will start on the inside as with 1 lap down. As everybody else on the outside getting ready to go green flag racing. It will be the 8 of Dylan Roberts getting ready to lead them to the green flag. Pace car gets out of the way and into the Geico restart zone they go here at Lowe's Motor Speedway one more time. Green flag flies, and it will be the 8 leading them across the start finish line into the end of the quad oval and into turns 1 and 2, and already the field's starting to fan out. Everybody trying to figure out where they want to go. 2 lines forming with the 8 still in the lead.
McKissick to the outside lane there, drifted up just a little bit too wide. Cold tires there on that restart. Had to check out of it just a little bit, gives Dylan Roberts some breathing space, but McKissick definitely wants to try to go for the race lead when he can. Taylor Head definitely going to keep him honest in that process as well. Jonathan Hernandez, not Jonathan Hernandez, Christian Budd, a lot of black and red cars here tonight. Christian Budd up there in the 4th position. Up a spot from where he started this race. Jose Salas just behind him as well. As we look into turn 1 and 2 here, going to be very interesting to see if anyone can really make a move on Dylan Roberts. Tyler Head pulled away very easily once we got some green flag running in, seeing if Roberts can do the exact same now that the roles are reversed. McKissick staying right there with him, but can he hold it with him?
Tyler Head gave McKissick a great push to start this run. Now he wants to go under him. Now he wants to take 2nd place for himself, side by side. Into turns 1 and 2 they go. Looks like the 4 is going to try to pick up the draft off the 8. Not enough that time around. He's going to have to fall back in line to make another run at it. Interesting, though, how nobody wants to help the 4 get up front. I think the fear is they have had moves to the top. They may not get the lead back.
Yeah, the 4 definitely, I think, is one of the strongest cars if you put it in clean air. Right now, it's not in clean air. You saw McKissick be able to defend that 2nd position pretty well. Obviously, Dylan Roberts giving some dirty air as well. That would make it difficult for Tyler Head to make any moves because he doesn't have anywhere to go. But McKissick, I think, pretty well just trying to match the 8 and the 4 right now. Stick with this group of 3. And hope that you can kind of pull away if we have a longer green flag run this time around to just pull away and outrun the 17, the 29. The 29, obviously, this is not going to be a race that suits his strong suits over the long run. We just thankfully haven't seen a long run progress. for Jose Solis Jr. to fall backwards, but we've seen when we've had those longer runs, you think about Fontana being a big race, he didn't get to stay up front very long. So keep an eye on the 29 car, see if he can maintain where he's at right now. He's sitting top 5 ahead of Mauricio, Peleg, Hal, Rasmus, and Lewandowski. All those cars behind him are better at tire saving than he is. So that's an interesting sort of dynamic to follow along with, because he's going to have to drive very defensive, and this is a track where defensive driving can work very well.
Someone who's not being very defensive is at 37 of McKissick. Went low, went high, trying to look for some air around the 8 machine.
And there's contact, more contact. Roberts gets shot to the wall.
The 37 uses the chrome horn to move the 8 up to the wall, and we have a new leader. The 37 of Brandon McKissick does him dirty, but gets the lead nonetheless. Now the 8 tried to... Oh, the 8 making contact with the 37 again. Now more trouble on the track.
Whoa, 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 whoa.
That was some retaliation.
Absolutely, that was very clear. And now both those cars wearing damage. McKissick moves the 8 of Dylan Roberts because he came down a block. We have to go back and look at all that. We also have to see where the yellow flag came out. I believe the yellow flag came out for Philip Snipes, but I'm not entirely sure. I'll have to look and see if we can figure out what happened here. Yellow flag coming out. Gonna be very interesting. This is obviously what happened before. Let's see if we can just sort of browse and peruse through the field. We'll look at how this incident started at the front of the field, because it came out of turn 2. And you see right here.
Yeah.
So you
go
see right
ahead
here,
and walk us through it, because you had the better view in this.
So the 8 of Roberts and the 37 McKissick, they're already nose to tail here. And let's go ahead and see if we can grab that chopper cam. Good old chopper cam here. Really good look here. We'll go ahead and play it. Front of the field. McKissick knows that Roberts is going to try to defend that inside lane, because he did not get a good run out of turn 2. He checked up a lot because he got very tight. It began skating at the racetrack. McKissick's going to go to the inside lane here. We'll slow it down quarter speed. All the way to the bottom here. And I believe McKissick is under the belief that Roberts moved down on him here. I don't think that's the case, but leans right back into him. I don't know if he was trying to side draft him or whatever, but almost completely just hooked Robert to the left. Robert saves it and gets sent right to the outside, and obviously shoots him right into the outside wall there. And then the caution comes out right as they get out of 4. So let's see if we can figure out what happened here. Philip Snipes. Oh, this is what happened. Yeah, it was Philip Snipes that ended up in the wall there. And he got turned by, I believe that's Tyler Murray. If we can get another better look at that. Yeah, that is the 33 of Tyler Murray. That just kind of tags him and turns him there into turn 3. Caution comes out for that. So that's all pretty straightforward and simple there. Now let's go back and follow the 8 of Roberts. Caution comes out, and he's going to absolutely put the 37 in the wall. Made sure he put the 37 in the wall, too. I would not be surprised if there's some retroman there. McKissick tried to chase him down the track, but Dylan Roberts backed out of it. But I have a feeling that's not even going to be close to being over.
It's going to be interesting to see where they restart those 2 cars on the field. Now, the 37 coming off of pit road on the apron. This is going to be very interesting to see where they start those 2 cars. Are they going to force them in the back of the field, or if they're going to let them run back up front? New leader right now being credited as the 42 of Evan Lack. Lack, I believe, was one of the drivers that was, he started this race 1 lap down, and now somehow has found his way to the front of the field, so he will now be credited as your leader. Started when we restart racing, probably around lap 38, 39. Tyler Head still in the mix there. The 17 of Christian Budd still up in there as well. A lot of talent has moved up front, but I'm really concerned about what's going to happen between the 8 of Dylan Roberts and the 37 of Brandon McKissick.
If you want your answer for where they're at right now, they're at the back of the field. And they're together at the back of the field as well. It's Dylan Roberts right now in 31st. McKissick back in pit lane for repairs. You see the damage on the 37 car. McKissick right now sitting 34th, so Roberts in trouble still. But both of them now at the back of the field as a result of that. Evan Locke likely going to try to come down pit lane at some point. Last came down pit lane on lap 24.
The 42 will be forced to come down pit road eventually, but the good news is, number one, he's got his lap back, and number two, he's going to get some points despite starting the race one lap down. So it shows you the talent he has. He's not actually going to go. He's going to lead this race and see where the wind takes him. So when we go back to green flag racing in a lap here, it'll be Evan Lack, your leader in the Haviland Dodge. Number 4 of Tyler Head in position number 2 would be the 48 of Sean Peleg in position number 3. Going back through the field, it'll be the Silver Bullet in position number 4. That is the 40 of Gabriel Mauricio. Let's see who's in 5th there. That would be the 21 machine belonging to Tom Lewandowski. You in a blue car tonight. You normally see him in a red car, but tonight he's in the Air Force Blue, representing the fighting men and women of the U.S. Air Force, to whom we are grateful for their service.
Yeah, interesting top 5 here, Evan Locke. And Evan Locke's someone who's already not popular. I have a feeling we're going to see a little bit more chrome horning happening if Evan tries to make any smart moves here. I think there's quite a lot of people that would not be upset with putting a bit of fiberglass to that right rear quarter panel. So he's got to be careful, and these are not tires you want to spend a lot of time on. Again, very difficult to make work happen in this race, so you just got to be super careful on this restart.
They say when you're gambling, you got to know when to hold them and know when to fold them. Let's see what the 42 does. Is he going to hold straight, or is he going to have to fold with those old tires? Through the Geico restart zone they go. Green flag flies, and now the 42 goes high. It looks like he's going to try to cut him off with the 14. Tyler Head says, no, thank you. He's going to force it 3 wide into turns 1 and 2.
Yeah, no one was going to go with Evan Locke. The first opportunity, they were going to try to dispatch him. Again, not a popular face in the crowd. And they're going to keep him out of the way here, and they're going to not give him a lot of space either when they let him go.
And yeah, he dispatched, he gets, as now, no, not even on the high line. No one on the high line wants to help him. I think the 17 is more force behind him than he is trying to get a run with him. Top 3, though, getting a big run on the field. You see that Tyler Head leading the 48 and the 40. Down pit road is 3 wide now around the 42.
Yeah, they're that desperate to get away from that 42, not so much just because they don't like him, but because he is going to be so slow. So he is just going to be in trouble here. I don't know why you stay out on old tires, because he was better off just kind of taking fresh tires, taking that on the chin and working his way forward, but you see why. He got loose there out of 4 and had to check up the 15 big time, the 15 and the 00, next in line to try to get around the 42.
I mean, it can be a little bit of both, Carmen.
It definitely is a little bit of both.
Just throwing it out there. It could be a little bit of both. A little unpopularity and a little bit of the tires, forcing him to drop like a stone in a frozen pond. So the 42 now running in front of the 15 of Emily Howe, who's been forced back through the field. Let's go back through midfield as we catch up along Christian Budd, along Tom Lewandowski, and the 0 of Corey Cook, who has found his way up through the field right now, tailing all up on the back end of the 29 of Jose Solis. Behind him, Nick Doucette, who also started on pit road, is going to be position number 9. So the cream has found her way to the top. This is the good news. The bad news is they still have half a race to run.
A little over that now. Yep. Coming to 459 laps to go. So it's going to be very interesting. Ali Osman just got loose there as well, battling for 15th there with Michael O'Brien. O'Brien almost hooked him into that AstroTurf there on the inside. Got off of him just before he turned him. But Osman struggling right now, dealing with the traffic in front. And Michael O'Brien trying desperately to find a way around in that Irwin number 97.
Lots of traffic going on right now, and you're starting to see the effect of the tire effect that you were talking about, the tire drop off you were talking about earlier. With the tires, when the tires aren't fresh, when you've burned all the good rubber off the top of them, you see them starting to struggle. You see that fall off, and even though they're doing everything they can to conserve them, there's only so much you can do at Charlotte. These tires drop off fast, and when they do, your speed drops off, and more importantly, your grip. So that makes it even harder to make those passes, to get that run on the driver in front of you. You really have to rely on drivers behind you as the 42 goes around. The 42 gets sideways. Green flag stays out. No, 30 will catch up with a 30 of Ali Osmond, and that will bring out the caution flag.
I believe that was off the nose. I think that was... I don't know if that was off the nose of Timothy Latham or not. Let's go back and look at that. I thought that was a very odd accident there. Yeah, it had
Very
to be
odd
Latham.
accident.
It had to be Latham. Yeah, it was Latham.
Go ahead and walk us through
84.
this, Carmen.
Yeah, so this is Latham and Evan Locke. Christina Ryan and Emily Howe just dispatched him there. They took their time getting around him too. He had finally settled in, it looked like, in just outside the top 10. Timothy Latham in that 84, though, not so keen on being as patient here. And you're going to see Evan Locke there. He's offset off of the back bumper of Christina Ryan there at the bottom of your screen. And Latham behind him here. We'll look in real time. Latham just sends it to the inside. Oh, just completely just clobbers him there. Completely clobbers him. And Alsman, he's picked his lane. He's hoping Evan Locke saves it there. Obviously, that is not the case. But yeah, that is right off the nose of Latham, who just runs right over him in that left rear. And then obviously Latham spins as well. So there's two parts to this caution here, because Latham, I think you can say instant karma as a driver, because he almost saves it here, does a little Tokyo drift, but then he's still on the apron. And this is going to hook right, roll right in front of the 99 of Lautenschlager. And Matt Taylor's very smart to get out of the way there. Lautenschlager had the tow. Matt Taylor doing a great job of avoiding making contact with either car stuck there on the exit of 4. That's rough all around.
That is a tough, no matter how you cut that, that is tough for all the drivers, as you see all 4 of them now on pit road, getting as much damage as they can repaired before they get off and try to get back to racing and salvage what they can of their night tonight. We're about halfway through the race, and so far it's been very aggressive up and down the entire field. Everybody running every single lane, running, not worrying about conserving the cars so much as worrying about getting up front and getting some laps and TV time for their cars. Currently, the 88 machine belonging to Drew White will lead. Tyler Head in second, Christian Budd third, Mike Rasmus fourth, and Sean Peleg rounding out your top 5, your provisional top 5, I should say.
Yeah, provisionally, this is just looking at where everyone's at right now, and obviously we see that it refreshes as we go along. Gabriel Mauricio sitting 6th alongside Thomas Lewandowski, Parker Alexander, Jose Solis Jr. back in the top 10, sitting in 9th. Nick Doucette sitting in the top 10 at the moment. Corey Cook, Emily Howe, Jonathan Hernandez, Christina Ryan, and Brandon Cruz, your top 15. Olivia Hayward up to 16th there, using pit stop strategy to sort of just move her way through the field here. Right now up into the top 16 there. Michael O'Brien, Andrew Griesbaum, he's recovering from his accident early in this race as well. Brendan McGee down in 19th. Matt Taylor staying alive for another day, sitting in 20th. They had a Matt Sisler, Mo Perry, Leandro Moreira, Tyler Murray, Corey Steinhauser. There's Rory Collins in 26th. Now I think getting around Steinhauser, I have to believe. Evan Locke 27th, Hayden Repas 28th, Ali Osmond 29th, Dylan Roberts still down in 30th position. Brandon McKissick still 31st as well, so they're going to be restarting together with how this looks right now. TJ Crampton 32nd, Timothy Latham 33rd, Philip Snipes sitting in the 34th position at the moment. And then you see everyone from Lautenschlager on down, 35th on down out of this race. Lautenschlager, Bales, Askew, Smith, Krobach, all out of this race. Drew White led his laps. UPS machine comes down pit lane, and Tyler Head once again will go to the front of the field.
Lights should be off this time by. Yes, they are. So Tyler Head once again delivered the lead that time from the 88 machine, the UPS car of Drew White. So Tyler Head, he's 2 for 4 when it comes to the races he's run. 1-2 out of 4 races. He's trying to go for a 60% success rate tonight by going 3 for 5. When we talked to him earlier in the season, we talked about after a second win. He said, "I'm only running a part-time season. I'm only running, as when I can. So being inside the chase may not be a priority for me. I'm just having some fun." But after 3 wins, fun's got to turn into business at some point.
It very much does turn into business, and obviously it's about to pick up here. I think business is about to be booming if you're someone like Tyler Head or Christian Budd. Mike Rasmus, I think, is going to have a lot of time having some fun here in the top 3 now. It's just difficult because you can't ever get into a rhythm, and that's I think that's the most important part about this race, is just finding a rhythm. Some drivers deal better with the chaos. I know personally, me as a driver, I prefer the chaos just because you can really sort of take advantage of the drivers you're dealing with there. But a lot of the drivers, as far as the way this car handles, they'd like to be able to find that rhythm, and unfortunately just hasn't been there. But Tyler Head coming to the green flag here with the pace car down pit lane. Back where he wants to be, and that is with no one in front of him at the front. Green flag is back in the air. We're underway with 53 laps to go.
And look at Mauricio making a big move to the inside, wants to start picking off some drivers and getting back to up front. He is your points leader, and he wants to get some points for leading this race. Tyler Head, Christian Budd don't want to let him do that, though. They will continue to run the high side, doing a little bit of blocking as they tandem back into turns 3 and 4. Mauricio, though, forcing the issue. He's gone low, and he's going to be in position number 3 ahead of Mike Rasmus.
A little bit more melee behind, and that's Sean Peleg. A lot of latency for the 48 machine of Peleg, who's got to be scaring the lights out of Lewandowski, who did not know what was going on there.
The 48 looking to have some electrical issues. They might have been sorted this time by, but you're right. Lewandowski, who started at the back of this field and has flown his way up through the field, is now trying to get around that 48, which might be the safest place for him to put him in position number 4. Mike Rasmus on the high side, though, nobody helping him. He's going to drop to position, possibly position number 6, if Jose Solis can get around him.
Mauricio just at the fast lap of the race as well, getting close to breaking into the 29-second range on these lap times here. Mauricio up to 3rd, trying to chase down Budd and Head at the front of the field as Rasmus continues to fall backwards, now behind Solis, and now under threat from Emily Howe and Parker Alexander.
I was about to say, look who's now back in the mix. The 15 of Emily Howe, the 5 of Parker Alexander, who was involved in an incident earlier in this race. They are now challenging Mike Rasmus. Again, currently the 10th man in the 10-person chase, sitting in 10th. We'll see. And if he has a bad run tonight, that could all change. At least give some yield over to the 11th driver on the outside looking in. That is Brendan McGee. Let's ride along board with Corey Cook now, currently sitting in 11th position, trying to challenge, get underneath the 5 for position number 10, breaking the top 10 tonight. It looks like, Carmen in front of him, 24 hit the wall in front of them. The 24 will keep pace, though, but now the 5 and 0 have a great opportunity to get around that 24.
Yeah, obviously trying to make some magic happen here. Corey Cook sitting in the top 10, just barely, but trying to stay in that position because just behind is Jonathan Hernandez and Christina Ryan, trying to get back into the top 10 as well. Christina Ryan, 5 starts. This is race 6 for Christina Ryan out of 8 that have taken place so far. Looking for a top 10 still for the first time in the season. And you see that at the bottom of the screen, 18th entering tonight's race, with coming to 8 races to go in the regular season. It's time to put a move on and try to get the Aaron's Dream Machine into the chase here. On the outside of Hernandez, this is for 11th place. Christina Ryan gets up there, trying to do a great job. And likewise, Olivia Hayward, who's gotten clear and gotten some daylight over Michael O'Brien, with space in front as well. Sitting right now in 13th, 49th in points, has not had a great opening stanza of this race, but racing part-time. Not a lot of stress on the 36 car of Hayward, who right now is just trying to keep touch with that top 12. Doing a good job so far. Started this race all the way back in the 34th position.
Olivia Hayward, well outside the top 35, has been able to qualify in for all the races she's run so far. So good run so far for Hayward. Now running 13th. You definitely love to see that, especially when you're running part-time. You got to take every position they can. Over halfway done, and so it looks like we have a lead change up front. Gabriel Mauricio down low, Christian Budd on the high side, and it will be the Silver Bullet zooming up front. And right now, it is Mauricio that has the lead, but will he have it for long? As you see, the 21 of Thomas Lewandowski making the run down low.
Yeah, Lewandowski's been charting his way forward up 29 spots in this race so far. He's done an outstanding job in that process. Tyler Head being dispatched first by Christian Budd, now by Mauricio and Lewandowski. Mauricio now at the front of the field. Here comes Jose Solis Jr. on the outside as well, trying to find some clean real estate to also take on the 4 And the 4 not able to close the door in time. Jose Solis Jr. moving up in the top 5 to 4th. Trying to go after the race lead as well. That currently is being held by the Brazilian driver, Mauricio, the Daytona 500 winner. Trying to walk away.
Daytona 500 winner, your leader in points right now. He's trying to make a big statement and keep himself at the top of the chase standings. He wants to, with halfway through the season, he wants to go in a big way to possibly challenge for the Winstel Cup at the end of this season. As now Lewandowski gets a little wild out there. Look at Jose Solis Jr. He's on the inside trying to make something happen. The 17 will go down and block. The 21, no one to help him. That could open the door for head.
Yeah, 3 cars fighting for the second spot at the moment. Solis had nowhere to go in that process. Lewandowski slots back in front of him here. Solis will go back to the outside lane. And Tyler Head dives to the inside, hugging that white line through 1 and 2. Cars beginning to hang out sideways a little bit, beginning to dance around a little bit more. As further back, Hal goes after Rasmus. This is for 7th on the track, and I don't think Rasmus is going to fight too awful hard on that. Just trying to stay on that outside lane, stay where it's comfortable at the moment. Emily Howe trying to pick off positions one by one as they battle up front. It's still Bud and Lewandowski leading over Solis, spot behind Gabriel Mauricio, the race leader.
Mauricio continues to lead. Lewandowski now up to second for the first time, fighting alongside the 17. And this is where we're starting to see the tires wear off. You're starting to see them dance around because the tires are wearing off. We figured the second lap, the second stop would have to go somewhere between lap 62 and 67 in order to finish this race. And now I think you're seeing some of that happening as they run on the black ice there. Now the question is, do you wait for a caution flag to come out, or do you make the decision to go down during the green flag, hoping that no more chaos happens?
I think you have to wait as long as possible before you make that pit stop. You're 100%. You're going to try to see how close you can get to lap 75 or lap 80. Try to cut it down as much as you can there. Everyone's going to be running this tank completely empty before they come down pit lane, just because they don't want to lose that time or be at risk of going a lap down and being pinned by a caution. Remember, we've not seen green flag pit stops at all in this race so far. That's a very challenging aspect, especially when there's that wall on the entry pit lane here at Charlotte. It can be very challenging.
Very challenging is the polite way to put it, as up front the cars continue to dance around. Lewandowski drops from second to fourth as Jose Solis finds a great way to run right up against that wall in all 4 turns, and that'll put him up to position number 2. The 17 of Christian Budd in position number 3. Lewandowski now in 4th, and Tyler Head fighting for his life in position number 5.
Very interesting fights going on here at the moment, but the top 10 still pretty well close together. Mauricio leading, but Solis definitely going for the race lead if he can grab it here. Running the outside lane, Mauricio comfortable on the inside lane. Solis flirting with that safer barrier.
And that flirting is working. The safer barrier is being a kind lady to him tonight, as he is definitely making up the ground on the 40 of Mauricio. Side by side, they split turns 1 and 2, and the 29 just may have more momentum coming off the turn. Won't make him pass this time by, but watch the next couple laps. If the 29 continues to run that high line, that could be all the momentum he needs to pick up the lead.
Now, the thing is with Jose Solis Jr. is that he's burning up more tires here running the outside lane. It is definitely going to hurt those tires in the long run. So I wonder what the long game plan is here for Solis as he tries to get around Mauricio still. Mauricio and everyone's just kind of backing it down, saving that right side just a little bit. Solis, I think, is going to grab the lead and clear here. But he is in trouble at the moment.
He had the lead there for a second, but not quite able to clear against the wall one more time. Will he have the momentum this time? He will, I believe, take the lead on paper, but he will not clear the 40 just yet. Through the quad oval into turns 1 and 2. Now you can count the 29 officially as a leader, as he's got the 40 cleared, but the 40 fighting back on the low side. Interesting, you say that he will burn more tires up there. You're absolutely right. He will burn more of that tire up against the wall. It's faster, but he will burn more tire. And the question then becomes, when is he forced to come down pit road? When does he have to make that hard left turn down the pit road and have to make the run ahead of everybody else, I should say?
I have a feeling that Solis and Nick Doucette will be two of the first ones to go. And Mauricio, to his credit, chasing the 29 up the hill here. Lewandowski going up the hill as well, trying to hold off Doucette. Nick Doucette now in the top 5. But very interesting just watching as this all really kind of plays through here. Mauricio able to get right back to the 29. So Jose Solis not able to get away from Mauricio at all by any stretch. Mauricio still preferring that inside lane here, not wanting to give the inside lane up to Jose Solis Jr. And definitely trying to keep him up there near the wall. Burn that tire up even more, and you're seeing now Mauricio now not only challenging Jose Solis again, but taking the lead back on the inside lane here. You're beginning to see that turning point for that outside lane and the tires that everyone's running up there at the moment. Solis not having quite the clean of a run as he was to get to the lead. And it's allowing Mauricio to really press him as we approach lap 70 here momentarily. 33 laps to go.
As the 29 runs up there, I get you, him and his crew were thinking, all right, we'll get a late fit, we'll get a late yellow flag, we'll see some more craziness out there. That'll give us time to take the lead and go down pit road, get 4 tires, and win this race. Now that we haven't seen that, his plan may have backfired on him just a little bit. He's keeping up with the 40. They are side by side through each of the turns and then on the front stretch. It is a drag race to the start finish line each time that the 40 is winning, but the 29 not quite ready to give up his run and the front.
Yeah, the longer the green flag run goes as well. These are 32-second pit stops we're at right now. Fast lap time set was a 30.07. So we already lost 2 seconds in pace as here comes Solis to the inside lane. Got the over-under on him. How does Mauricio handle? Oh, hooks it, and this is not going to be a fun pit entry. Did he slow that down? Oh, did he make that work? Oh, my goodness.
Oh, my goodness is right. And the question is, did he get the pit road speed? Or is he going to get a speeding penalty for coming down? It looks like he's going to go ahead and go to the attention of his crew this time by. So an unplanned pit stop, but the 29 of Jose Solis Jr. makes it work. Back up front, the 40 machine of Gabriel Mauricio continues to lead. And now he's going to peel off and come down pit road.
Not alone in that too. Tyler Head coming down pit lane as well. The pit window is open. You can make it to the end of the race from here. So that's why some drivers are peeling in early. Other drivers wanting to stay out longer. They want those fresh tires at the end of the race. They want to try to make that charge back to the front of the field. They also don't want to be pinned a lap down in this process because this is a slower pit lane compared to other tracks. You will go a lap down when you pit, regardless of where you're at on the racetrack. So very important to try to make things happen here. Some drivers that beat Jose Solis Jr. to pit lane are now in front of him. Dylan Roberts, one of those drivers, are now ahead of him on the racetrack because they came in a little bit earlier. There goes Mauricio out of pit lane now, also a lap down, and he's going to be in traffic.
Well, the 17 of Christian Budd now leads the 24 of Nick Doucette in position number 2. Lewandowski, position number 3. Emily Howe, a familiar name, up in position number 4. And 5th position, I believe, belongs to the 5 machine. The 5 machine of Parker Alexander. We have more takers now down pit road, as I believe I saw another car come down. Yep, 2 more cars. It's the 17 and the 6.
Yep, that's Bud, Rasmus, and Brandon Cruz down pit lane. Nick Doucette, the pole sitter, now seeing his first laps as the leader of this race on lap 73. Lewandowski behind him. Emily Howe up to 3rd. Christina Ryan, Olivia Hayward also in the top 10 at the moment. Spreckled in there between Alexander, Matt Taylor, and Ali Osman. And Doucette, you see him hanging that car out big time, leading until that car runs out of fuel is, I think, the strategy call for him. Try to keep everyone a lap down as much as you can here. Mauricio, who came out of pit lane later than everyone else, somehow beat everyone else on that pit stop game because he is the first car a lap down. He's passing Lewandowski, the 2nd place car right now, to get himself a lap back. He will inherit the race lead by a healthy margin. this is going to be wild because Jose Solis Jr., as we wondered, had a penalty. He's out of this race now.
Jose, I was worried about that. It looked like he just went down pit road way too fast, and that was going to take him out of contention. So it will be right now Lewandowski as your leader. Gabriel Mauricio back on the lead lap, but at the very tail end of it. So now when does the 21 come down pit road? When do we see the 21 make that move and start and let Mauricio start ticking his way back up front? 25 left to go when we cross the start-finish line, but still plenty of racing left.
Absolutely plenty of racing left to go here. Several cars that are yet to come down pit lane. Lewandowski, Matt Taylor, Ali Osman, Drew White, Philip Snipes, Gabriel Mauricio. Obviously, the first car just got back on the lap. Here comes Tyler Head, who will also be back on the lead lap here. So a couple drivers there. We know who first and second are tentatively going to be on this stop, or once this pit stops have gone through. I think the hope that a caution would come out is not going to bail out here. So Lewandowski's going to come ahead and come down pit lane. Matt Taylor stays out, so Matt Taylor will become the new race leader as McKissick and Roberts make their way through.
You see everyone who was on the old tires, they cannot compete. They're just going to have to yield. They're just going to have to give up where they were, and they're just going to have to, say, okay, we got nothing. We're going to have to let it go right now as the song goes. So the 32, credit as your leader, but in reality, there's a lot more drivers way up front. You see the 24 now of Nick Doucette getting around him. Nick Doucette should reset here in the top 10 somewhere, if my memory serves you correctly. But the 32, it's got to give up. I mean, it's been interesting to see if he can run all the way to the end, but he's got to give up the go sometime.
Yeah, Ali Osman's right now sitting in second, and now just tagged the wall there on the entry to 1 and 2. Christina Ryan, Michael O'Brien get around him. And still traffic on their way around here as that was Lewandowski leaving pit lane. And he's in a gaggle of cars, but he won't be there for long. He's under the freshest tires of the bunch.
Freshest tires in that traffic. The problem is he's got to navigate it very carefully. He can't just go like a bull in the china shop getting through everybody. He's got to knock them off one by one and try to do everything he can to not bring out the caution flag to get back to where he wants to be among the leaders of this race. The 32 stays out. The 32 still leading this race. Matt Taylor wanting to milk everything he can out of this car before he goes in. And at lap 8 and scoring lap 79, I think he may want to try to run it till it's dry.
Yeah, 100%. You're running it till it's dry at this point in time. There's nothing really else to do for Matt Taylor. You're kind of just going for broke and seeing if you win the lottery here. A lot of cars getting the laps back here, working their way back forward because they have those fresh tires. Matt Taylor, obviously, you see here his stats at the bottom of your screen: 5 starts, no top 10s, no top 5s. That's going to slip away from him here based off of what we're seeing right now. Again, you're playing the low probability chances here that something does happen. And for him, I think it's just a lot of fun seeing that number 32 car on the top of the pylon at this point. Not very often you get to see something like that for Matt Taylor, who's had some bad luck in this season.
Hey, even a blind squirrel gets a nut every once in a while, and you're absolutely right. It is a low probability game for the 32 and everyone else who is electing to stay out because there's still 20 laps to run. And those cars that we're leading are way faster than you right now. So the best you can do is just keep running your race, hoping something bad happens to those cars and they're not able to catch up with you with a 25 second lead. The problem is with about a 4 to 5 second difference between those who don't have tires and those who do. It's only a matter of time. Matt's going to catch up to you eventually.
Yeah, right now Gabriel Mauricio, who was going to inherit the race lead when Osman and Taylor come down pit lane, right now sitting just 14 seconds behind Matt Taylor and gaining rapidly. He's going to be very uncontested in this process here. Obviously, 2 wins in Winstel Cup competition, including the Daytona 500 this season. Looking for his 2nd win of the season. Another Brazilian driver doing a fantastic job running that silver bullet as hard as he can, knowing that he's coming to, I think, 16 laps to go here momentarily. Osman in pit lane. He's finally made his stop here. Matt Taylor, I'm assuming, not going to be far behind in that process. Getting passed by the 23 of Rory Collins. Yep, here he comes, down pit lane.
Here he comes. The ghost is given up. The king is dead. Long live the king. That king will be the 40. Running the Marine Corps on the hood. It's going to be for the 40 of Gabriel Mauricio leading. When we come back to the green flag, when we come back to the start finish line, he'll be his lead. Let's follow along with Brandon McGee, though, who's now currently in 11th. He's running behind Brandon McKissick out there. Good run for Brandon McGee all night long. He may be able to make up some points on that 10th position that he so desperately wants, but it's not going to be the run he wanted. You know, he wanted to make a lot more up in order to really try to challenge for 10th place and get into the chase.
Luckily, he's got a lot of time. Results like this will definitely help him here. Obviously, if he's in the top 10, that means that one of the cars in front of him in points are not Jose Solis. Obviously, one of those drivers that are not in front of him in point, or not in front of him on the racetrack because he's out of this race. Results like this will help. If you run top 10 consistently, even if everyone else around you is still around you, as long as you can stay in this range, you're going to have a really good shot at it. He was only 29 points away from Mike Rasmus. Rasmus right now sitting, unfortunately, top 4. So he's not gaining on Mike Rasmus, but he's gaining on others, and that's still a very important aspect here. The ebb and flow is going to be very important just to keep a hold of everything through this season. It's not easy, but I think McGee, very happy with the results that he's been able to grab so far this season. I think he's done overall an exceptional job, and obviously McKissick, we know how fast McKissick can be here. You got to keep your eye on the prize here, because after this, next week we go to Pocono. That's going to be a hard race to fight. Pocono's going to be hard. Sonoma's going to be hard. We have the second race at Daytona at the beginning of June. It is some very difficult tracks, but very important tracks. And if McGee can hold this type of pace across the board, he's going to look just fine.
14 laps left to go at this point as the 9 gets around the 0 of Corey Cook. That'll put him up, I believe, one more position out there, as everybody now doing what they can to win this race. Back up front, Mauricio currently in second place. Tyler Head back at the lead. Still wants to make it 60% win rate out there tonight, and he still could with almost 10 to go.
Yeah, he pit after Mauricio did, and so the undercut, or really the overcut, has been working out pretty well for Tyler Head. Mauricio just having those older tires, they've fallen off now just a little bit more. Here comes Christian Budd on him as well. Budd wanting to have a chance to go after this race win, because Budd pit after Tyler Head did. So this can be very important to see how this fight plays out. A bunch of race winners at the front of the field right now, including Nick Doucette, who I think probably looks the best right now. The 24 car, I think, really does look the best of everybody so far.
Marines always lead the way, but in this case, that Marine Corps machine of the 40 of Gabriel Mauricio led the way for Tyler Head and the 17 of Christian Budd. Now Nick Doucette wants to get in the mix as well. It's now a matter of what do the drivers do. They're all doing rear view mirror driving at this point, watching behind them, doing the block, seeing what they can do to force the driver behind them to make those mistakes, to try to keep them in the rear view, in their rear view mirror. You've got at this point to do everything you can to make sure that other driver doesn't get around you with 11 to go.
Yeah, obviously very important fights here going on. Doucette is trying to find a way around the silver bullet of Mauricio. May move him up the track here a little bit, because Christian Budd is trying to fight to get it to the rear end of Tyler Head here. Coming to 10 laps to go, and I think Rasmus is going to try to make a move as well.
Mauricio, who had so much fight to start this race, he is now dropping through the field, has gone from first to fifth, and now Emily Howe in the mix as well could put him down another position. Up front, no change. Tyler Head, who we've seen running great in clean air, is going to continue to race ahead of Christian Budd by about half a car length. Make it 2 car lengths now.
Yeah, right now this battle for the lead warming up here. Here comes Christian Budd, who loves this type of racing and would love to finish ahead once again of the championship defending driver of Tyler Head. This is going to be a very interesting fight.
It's going to be a very entertaining fight as now the 17 tries that high line that you saw Jose Solis try to make work earlier in the race. Not going to make the pass this time by. He's going to go low. See if he can force the mistake out of the 4 of Tyler Head. It will force the mistake. The 17 now charging for the lead. The 4 side drafting. The 4 wants to keep as tight as he can. Going out of turns 3 and 4. New leader will be the 17 of Christian Budd, but not by much.
No, not by much at all, because Tyler Head took it right back. And keep an eye on this 24. The car looking the best of the 3 is in this group as well. This is not over at any stretch of the imagination, because Doucette is right there. Bud with the race lead. But Tyler Head going to fight it back to the inside lane. Forces the 17 up high. Doucette just trailing behind, just watching what lane does he want to go to take on the race leaders. Oh, we're about to have a 3-car fight here, and they could go 3 wide into 1.
7 laps to go at this juncture. Still anybody's race. The 17, the 4, the 24, all battling for position. Low line seems to be the place to be, because even without a friend to run with you, you can still make a good run on that low side. Traffic about to make a splash here in the way as the 17 gets the push to the 24. Now it's going to go down low and block the 4. Christian Budd's got to block both lanes if he wants to try to win this race.
Becoming very hard to do. Nick Doucette, pole sitter, had to start at the back of the field after a penalty he received at Richmond. It has been a hard-fought climb for the 24, who needs a race win to be back in that chase hunt. But he's battling a driver who's not going to give it up easy at all.
The 17, the 24, still side by side, still side drafting, not banging doors just yet, but they are doing everything they can, fighting tooth and nail, hammer and tong for the lead this time around. Score the 24 up front. The 17, though, is going to continue to run high, see if he can get some of that momentum from the high side and try to pass the 24. So far, it's working. Tyler, the biggest beneficiary of this all could be Tyler Head, who's watching everybody, both those 2 drivers continue to fight.
That right now with the advantage, but it's all so temporary. Christian Budd is a very game fighter coming to 4 laps to go. He's going to try everything he can to get right back to the bumper of that 24 and really rattle this cage here.
24 leading into turns 1 and 2 and starting to get a run away from the 17, scoring about a car length and a half ahead of the 17 of Christian Budd. Now the 4 of Tyler Head doing everything he can to try to stay up with that group, trying to get the momentum on the high side. Not working for him. He may have burned those tires up too early, and now he's going to suffer the consequences of that. Meanwhile, the 24 still cruising ahead. You know he's not letting up on those tires at all. It's only a matter of time before he burns them up with 3 to go.
Again, lap traffic will be a slight issue. It's Corey Steinhauser just in front. 25th place car at the moment. This is an absolutely wild, and likewise, Emily Howe trying to move back into the top 5, battling Mike Rasmus. So some position moves all over the racetrack here. Everyone trying to make some magic happen one way or another. 2 laps to go. Doucette has a 3/10 lead, looking a little further back here. Olivia Hayward trying to defend 16th from Andrew Griesbaum. Missing out of the top 15 here, but overall a good return back to the Winstel competition here. She can hold on to it for 2 laps to go. 3 miles left to play. Less than that for Doucette, who is pulling away from Christian Budd.
White flag about to show. Assuming we don't have any chaos before we hit the start-finish line, we will not. Nick Doucette will receive the white flag. Next flag will end the race. Doucette through the quad oval into turns 1 and 2. No challenge from Budd, no challenge from Head. Through the backstretch, continuing to build his lead, about 4 car lengths now on the 17 of Budd. Nobody around him, nobody making anything to catch up that 24. All he's got to do is survive 2 more turns into turn 3. Down low, coming off of turn 4, comes up high to the wall, and now it will be Nick Doucette from pit road to the front row, your winner at Charlotte Motor Speedway.
Absolutely outstanding job there by Nick Doucette, who's going to burn it out immediately into turns 1 and 2, but did an outstanding job to grab the race win. Race winner for the first time this season, the 24 car visiting victory lane. This one was very well earned for Nick Doucette. Had to go all the way through the field to make it happen. Absolutely well fought.
Teammates already getting the celebration started early for the 24 of Nick Doucette, as you saw him dirt track it through turns 1 and 2, and then get a little love from the 5 of Parker Alexander. Now the 15 of Emily Howe giving him the congratulations. Chrissy Ryan giving him some love as well. The 24 of Nick Doucette, everybody's congratulating him as he comes to start-finish line and gets ready to burn him down. Nick Doucette, after a challenging season, finally your winner at Lowe's Motor Speedway, will pick up one of the crown jewels of the Winstel Racing League.
And a well-earned burnout there by Nick Doucette. Winning moment here.
Nick Doucette hasn't seen victory lane in the Winstel Series in 2 years. Now you see him celebrating. You see him appreciating it. 23 starts, 1 pole, 7 top 5, 16 top 10s. And now you can call him a winner in the Winstel Cup Series for the first time.
He's going to burn that engine all the way down here. We'll talk to our podium finishers here in just a moment, but we will first break down where everything turned up here. Nick Doucette did an outstanding job in this race, grabbing the race win. Just an outstanding race all around. A fantastic battle between the top 3 there at the end as well. Doucette, Bud, and Head, all 3 of them take a bow because that was a very frantic fight there. Parker Alexander, Emily Howell sitting in the top 5. Mike Rasmus dropped out of the top 5 there at the very end. Thomas Lewandowski, Gabriel Mauricio, Jonathan Fernandez, and Brandon McKissick rounding out your top 10 here in Charlotte Motor Speedway. Looking further down the order here, it is Christina Ryan, who just barely missed out on the top 10 by just a hair, but finished ahead of Brennan McGee there. Dylan Roberts in 13th. Brandon Cruz in 14th. Michael O'Brien, Andrew Griesbaum. Griesbaum got ahead of Olivia Hayward there right on the final lap. Olivia Hayward in 17th. Evan Locke recovering to 18th. TJ Crampton recovering to 19th place. And Matt Taylor rounding out the top 20 here in Charlotte Motor Speedway as well. 39 cars. We'll show you the next page. 21st through 30th. Ali Osman, Tyler Murray, Matt Sisler, Mo Perry, and Corey Steinhauser. Steinhauser ended up being the first car one lap down. Leandro Morera, 26th. Drew Wright, 27th. Corey Cook in 28th. Philip Snipes and Rory Collins rounding out your top 30 there. And then the last 9 drivers in this field. Hayden Repus, all these drivers DNFing here. Hayden Repus, Jose Solis Jr., Timothy Latham, Sean Peleg, Craig Lautenslager, Jared Bales, Kenneth Askew, Aaron Smith, Anthony Krobach, all joining the DNFs list here tonight. But we will now talk to our podium interviewers here at the Charlotte Motor Speedway. Again, a fantastic race here all race long. Let's start with the race winner, Nick Doucette.
Nick Doucette finally getting it done in the Winstel Series. The mic is yours, buddy. I'm just gonna let you have your moment here.
When was the last time I was in victory lane in this series? I really don't remember. I think it was like Bristol of our 06 season almost 2 years ago. So no, what a great race, honestly. I mean, it's obviously, I'm thrilled to be back in victory lane in the longest race of the season, Coca-Cola 600. I mean, this racetrack, I mean, Charlotte, I don't know. I just got it figured out. I don't like to toot my own horn every now and then, but there's just something about Charlotte that I can do it better than others. And I mean, I don't want to brag myself up or anything, but just in that long run, and when the track was changing and everything like that, I could hook the bottom better than anyone else could. Everyone was kind of floating up, losing their tires as the run went on, and I just knew how to hook the bottom in both corners and get that straight line exit and get a good straightaway speed and really make a lot of good moves. No, that was a awesome setup by Emily. Great race.
You had arguably the biggest handicap tonight, having to start from pit road and take it all the way around to position number 1. Knowing you had to start on pit road, how did that affect your thinking, your strategy tonight, and how did that affect what you did to come back to victory lane?
Well, I at first thought I wasn't even supposed to race, so the fact that I'm here racing is I guess a blessing. But no, I knew that I was going to have to overcome some adversity there at the start of the race. I mean, obviously we got quite lucky with a caution before I even left my pit stall, so that really helped take away some of that time that I was going to lose. And I knew I was fast. I mean, in practice we did a bunch of pit parties in practice, and I felt like I had the best long run car. In qualifying, went out and put a flyer, went on pole, and yeah, I just knew I had the confidence in myself that I'd be able to make these passes to eventually get myself up front.
Nick, we're halfway through the season at this point. You came in 13th in points. What's it going to take for you guys to get into the chase from here?
Keep performing like I did tonight. I feel like I just pulled this one out of my rear end. I don't feel like I've been as fast as I have been in the past. I made the comment in practice that I feel like in reality I'm a 20th place car with a 5th place mindset, but this helped that confidence boost, and hopefully we can keep the momentum rolling into the next coming weeks.
Who makes it work for you, Nick? I'm sure you got a long list of people that we want to thank for getting you back up here 2 years later.
I got to thank Mr. H. We're celebrating our 20 years as a company. Got to give a shout out to him. The 24 in real life's doing pretty good this year. I might as well keep on with the tradition and try to make myself look somewhat relevant in this series. Honestly, though, I got to thank Winstel, Brennan, the whole admin gang, Emily for making all the setups. They're awesome setups. Can't go wrong with them. Great racing overall. Shout out to I hope he's watching. He was watching a few minutes ago. He watched me take the checker. Shout out to Ryan Kame. Hope you're out there. And ultimately, person who really kind of showed me how to get around this racetrack the way that I know how to was an old teammate of mine. His name was Mark Maffin. And unfortunately, we lost him about 8 years ago, but he's the real reason why I know how to get around this place.
Nick Doucette breaking a long drought, coming in first here at the what was Lowe's Motor Speedway, now Charlotte Motor Speedway, in the Winstel Cup Series. Christian Budd, your second place finisher out there, and it's got to sting a little bit, Christian, because you had an incredibly good running car all night long. What happened in those last laps?
I did the 2-tire thing before that last stop, and it was working out okay. Nick was catching me before we pit, and he did the smart thing and waited one extra lap before he pitted after I did. And, that one extra lap you wouldn't think makes such a big difference, but it does make a difference. And by the time he caught me, I just didn't have anything left to fight him with. I did the best I could, but he's pretty fast. But congrats to him. Been a little while since we've seen the 24 in Victory Lane, so I'm sure he's excited about it.
This race, one of the crown jewels, one of the longest races. How did you manage not only what was a very difficult start to this race, but manage the resources underneath that 17 car to get such a strong finish?
Yeah, when the race started, obviously a lot more yellows than we want to see for sure. That first 10 laps was not very good. And then we continued to get a few more. But when the daytime was, prevalent, the tires were more of an issue. You had to really save your tires. And then as we went into the night and the track cooled off, you could start driving a little bit harder. So a couple of guys, I think, figured that out a little sooner than I did as far as how hard they could drive. I was still probably trying to save a little too much. And then that last run, though, was able to just run it as hard as I could, get as far up as forward as I could, and get the best finish we could.
You came into tonight's race 7th in standings. This is definitely going to boost that campaign to stay in the chase. What's it going to take? What do you and the 17 team need to do to secure your spot in the chase?
Just keep having good solid runs like tonight. Obviously I want to win as many as I can, but when you can't win, finishing second's the next best thing you can do. Let a lap, make sure I get the bonus points, and just try not to make mistakes. There's a pretty strong group of drivers contending for that top 10. So, if you're making mistakes or putting yourself in bad positions to get crashed out and things like that, then you're going to give up a lot of points. But for the most part, I feel pretty good about the chance to make it to the top 10 in time for the start. And obviously, being higher up in the standings is going to help a little bit too, because you get a few extra points for being a little further forward. So, having a good points day, even in the chase format, is still an important thing.
Christian, who makes it work for you in the 17 team?
Yeah, just a shout out to all the Winstel admins for putting us on. This is our longest race of the year, and was really excited coming into it, and a lot of thought and effort goes into all these races. Let's say thanks to the guys over at Team Watson Racing for their hard work over there for Road to Pro stuff. Wife and kids for putting up with me doing this every week. And then, of course, I'll give a shout out to my brother. He's been in the hospital a little bit lately, and hopefully he's feeling better. I know he said he was watching, so shout out to him. And you guys in the booth for all you do. It's a lot of fun to watch these races.
Christian Budd finishing second tonight in one of the crown jewels in the Winstel Cup Series. Tyler Head tried to go 60% with a 60% success rate. Will be relegated to third. It's got to sting a little bit to know that you almost have won 3 of 5 races, but 2 out of 5 ain't bad.
Yeah, I don't have anything to complain about. I've been very fortunate, and really for a season and a half going on now. Very rarely have something go against me, and so that allows me to maximize a lot of these days and be in contention, even when like tonight, where I don't think I was the fastest one at all, and was just trying to take one away from somebody else.
You led an impressive amount of laps tonight, but at the end of the race, just came up a couple laps short. What happened, and what happened to the car? What broke for you guys, and how did that affect, and how did that break affect the finish?
It was about the tire management, and I had put myself a little bit on the back foot by taking 2 tires on back-to-back pit stops with the stop-and-go nature of the race that we had there in the middle before we had that run to the end. So I had kind of lost touch with the leaders, and I wanted to make up that time and sort of put it on them to catch me without burning up their stuff. And Bud and Nick obviously had no trouble doing that. I had paid a lap or 2 before each of them, and had a little bit of trouble getting through traffic on the way there. Probably used up more of my stuff than I could have if it had gone a little bit differently. But that's part of the strategy, right? So all in all, I got nothing to complain about. Everybody raced clean around me during the race, and especially at the end. And I put up a fight. I told Bud when we were in interview waiting there that he had the misfortune of being the first one to arrive, because I was going to give whoever got there first everything that I had left. And I think I made him burn up what he had, and that made the door open up a little bit wider for Nick. So obviously, congratulations to Nick. He's been looking for a win here for a little bit, and it's been a long time coming, and he drove a great race.
Tyler, I know you're running a part-time schedule this year, but the worst in all 4 of the races you've run, this is arguably one of the worst finishes you've had in third place. At what point does it go from being just a casual, fun thing to maybe we can be a challenger after all?
Well, I'll just disclose. I checked my work schedule, and I know that I have to work the night of the championship. So it's not gonna change. So as far as what that means in between, that just means that I want to go out every night, and the only objective that I have is to do whatever I think gives me an opportunity to win. And so that makes it a lot of fun for me. Obviously, I don't want to overstep the line and do anything untoward towards anybody else if I can avoid it. But I can really let it hang out and maybe take some chances that these guys that are going to be trying to make the chase and then ultimately race for the championship, some chances that they might think twice about taking. So it's all good for me. I get to just come out and have fun.
Tyler, who makes it work for you every week?
All the folks at Winstel, the admin group putting on these races, they do a really great job, and put a lot of effort into making Sunday nights fun for everybody who shows up. Everybody else that shows up to race, whether we have a long green flag run or, a little bit of a herky-jerk start, I know that we have a really great group of people, and not a lot of leagues get to boast the quality of the field that we have. So it's something that I'm really thankful for showing up here when I'm able. And obviously, everybody back at the house, my wife, my son, anybody else that enables me to take this time out to pretend to be a race car driver and do it in such a fun way.
Tyler Head, who's going to be the ringer for the rest of the season, takes the third position at Charlotte Motor Speedway.
Thank you.
Carmen, what a fun race. Even everyone who has watched this, everyone's participated in it, all of them said this has been arguably the most fun they've had racing all season long in the Winstel Cup Series. But what are your final thoughts?
This race had a little bit of everything to it. We had the early melee there, the back-to-back cautions, but then we had the green flag run. We had the green flag pit stops there that really set the stage for that final battle with Dessette, with Bud, with Head, Mauricio, Alexander, Hal, Rasmus. There was an entire list of cars there at the front of the field that were battling it out. Everyone on a different level of the playing field, and it all just kind of came together at the right time. That's part of what makes Charlotte so iconic and so unique. And we go from one unique racetrack to another. Pocono next week for the Winstel Cup Series next Sunday. That's going to be fun to watch because they're going to be sending it right into turn one there in Long Pond, Pennsylvania, going almost 200 miles an hour. And it's always wild seeing those cars take turn one at Pocono. A tricky triangle is tricky for a reason. It's hard not to be excited after having a race like that, especially that second half. The way we had it was almost completely perfect.
And of course, you can catch next week's race right here, starting 7:45 Eastern, 4:45 Pacific on ABN Esports. Be sure to join us tomorrow for the running of the HTL Daytona 500, a 500-kilometer race. That starts at 8 p.m. Eastern, and you'll see some familiar faces in that race, including our very own Carmen Sienna. I'm actually going to put you on the spot here real quick. Carmen. You've got a teammate starting in position number 1 tomorrow night in the series. What is your prediction for Arrowhead Motorsports, and what's it going to take for you guys to have a strong finish?
Teamwork is what got us there to the front of the field. Obviously, John Hagan, who just won the RX Ace for a Cup Series race at Gateway here tonight on ABN2. Very proud of him. He's done a fantastic job. He's been working really hard to make work happen, but it's a teamwork game. We have some amazing teammates. That's not just me. I think I'm pretty decent on the plate tracks, but John is phenomenal. You take him anywhere, he's going to be competitive. Shad Swatsworth's going to be competitive as well. Lily Frazier, the newest person to the team. Very excited to have her on board, and she's been a phenomenal teammate to have going into this new season. Tommy Reynolds, he won the HTL race at Talladega last season, so he's already got a proven success record there as well. We've got a very strong group of drivers. We have 5 cars for tomorrow night's race. It's about remembering what got us to the dance, remembering it is a team effort there. Obviously, we all want to win, but we got to make sure we pick our fights right, and we've picked our fights right all speed weeks. I think if we can keep our heads on a swivel there and keep our heads pointed straight, there's nothing that says it can't be us. I think that we are. It's hard to say we're the strongest because there's so many strong plate teams in HTL, but I think we're definitely up there. We haven't won a plate race yet, minus Talladega there with Reynolds. We haven't won at Daytona at all. It's a good time. It's a good first time for everything, and I think tomorrow is going to be a pretty historic night.
Be sure to join us tomorrow, 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Pacific, as we see if Arrowhead Racing can take away the HTL 500, or if any one of those other hungry drivers are going to be able to do it right here on ABN. That'll do it for our coverage of the Winstel Cup race here at Lowe's Motor Speedway, now Charlotte Motor Speedway, as it were. On behalf of my broadcast partner and the madam who makes it work, Carmen Sienna, my name is Joe Cortez. We will see you next week, same time, next Sunday, same time, for the Winstel Cup Racing Series at Pocono Raceway. Until then, good night, everybody.